Let's be real. Social media is a huge part of our lives, right? It's how we keep up, how we share, how we connect. But have you ever put your phone down after a long scrolling session and just felt kind of blah? A little worse than when you started? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly that. The hidden costs of our digital lives and what all that connecting is really doing to us.
So it really all boils down to this one question. Beyond the time we spend, and we all know that's a lot, what's the true price we're paying for having this constant, free window into everyone else's life? Let's start breaking it down.
First up, let's talk about the toll on your mind. This is all about the internal stuff, the ways social media can quietly start to reshape our emotions, our thoughts, and our overall mental well-being.
So in this section, we're going to look at three big things. That slow creep of anxiety, the trap of comparing ourselves to others, and of course, that nagging feeling we all know, FOMO.
So what is actually going on inside our heads? Well, when you're constantly seeing a stream of what everyone else is up to, your brain just can't help itself. It starts to compare. It's almost this automatic reflex. And when you do that day after day, that constant measuring up can really start to lead to feelings of stress, sadness, and just feeling empty.
And here's the kicker, the fatal flaw in all this comparison. It's totally unfair. People are sharing their absolute best moments. You know, the perfect vacation shot, the job promotion, the selfie that took 50 tries to get right. You're not seeing the bad days or the struggles, so you're left comparing your entire life with all its normal, messy, up and down moments to someone else's carefully edited highlight reel.
This slide pretty much lays it out. It's a straight line, a cause and effect. On the left, you've got the highlight reel, that endless stream of perfect, curated moments. And where does that lead? Well, the arrow points right to the result, that real-life feeling of being less than, which can do some serious damage to your self-esteem over time.
And all of this feeds that monster we call FOMO, the fear of missing out. Seeing everyone's best moments makes you feel like life is happening somewhere else and you're not part of it. And what does that anxiety do? It pushes you to stay plugged in, to keep checking, to keep scrolling, which just creates this restless cycle that feels impossible to escape.
Okay, so we've talked about how social media makes us feel. Now, let's shift gears and look at what it might be physically doing to our brains, to our habits, and our ability to focus.
We'll dig into how it can become a massive time drain, how it seriously messes with our sleep, and its effect on our ability to just, concentrate on one thing at a time.
Let's be clear on what we mean by a time drain, because we have all been there. You pick up your phone just to check one notification, and you look up and somehow an hour has completely vanished. That lost time has to come from somewhere, right? And it's usually stolen from the important stuff, like getting work done, sleeping, or connecting with people in the real world.
And here's something really important to remember. This isn't just about your willpower. These apps are literally engineered to keep you hooked. The infinite scroll, the little red notification bubbles, the algorithm that knows exactly what to show you next, it is all designed to keep you on that platform, and that can create a cycle of use that feels, frankly, a lot like addiction.
And this habit of scrolling often follows us right into bed, which creates a double whammy for our sleep. First, you've got the science part. That bright blue light from the screen literally tells your brain, hey, it's daytime, wake up. But then there's the other piece, the content itself, the drama, the news, the updates. It keeps your mind racing and buzzing right when it should be powering down.
Think about it. Over time, being exposed to this constant fire hose of short, bite-sized content can actually start to rewire your brain. It gets conditioned to expect that rapid-fire stimulation. And that makes it so much harder to do things that require deep, sustained focus, like reading a book, or studying for an exam, or even just having a long conversation without getting distracted. So, we've touched on the mind and the brain. For our last section, let's talk about the world outside our heads. How do all these online habits affect our actual, real-world relationships?
We're going to focus on two major things here: the unique and painful sting of online negativity, and that subtle but growing trade-off between our digital connections and our real-life ones.
Getting a negative comment online just hits differently than a face-to-face disagreement. It feels less like a critique of something you did and more like a public attack on who you are. And because it's out there for everyone to see, it adds this whole other layer of shame. A few mean words from a stranger can stick with you for days and make you question yourself in a really deep way.
And this brings us to a really fundamental choice we're all making. Our time and energy are limited. The more we pour into these often shallow online interactions, the less we have left for the people who are literally right in front of us. Our most important relationships can start to feel weaker because deep, meaningful conversations are getting replaced by likes, comments, and emojis. You can have 1,000 followers and still feel incredibly lonely.
All right, so after looking at all these different impacts, let's zoom out and tie it all together. When you boil it all down, the takeaway is that these hidden costs hit 3 major parts of your life. It can affect your mind, messing with your mood and self-esteem. It can alter your brain, disrupting your sleep and focus. And it can strain your real-world connections, leaving you feeling more isolated than ever.
And that really just leaves us with one final big question to think about. This isn't about saying social media is good or bad. It's way more personal than that. Is the way you use it actually making your real offline life better? Or is it taking something away? Definitely some food for thought. Thanks for joining us.